It still says starting soon.
So funny.
And we're on.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in to this edition of Witness Live. I'm Liz Warren, who will be your host today, and I'm also an intern at Witness. But I'm going to have this on for a few... And I can't handle that.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're just testing the equipment right
This is interactive.
So, yeah.
So we'll turn that off. Should I start again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go for it.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in to Witness Live. I'm Liz Warren, your host today, and also an intern at Witness. Today we're going to be talking to you about internship experiences, and we'll be taking questions at the end of the show. So please feel free to tweet us at #WitnessLive. Today my guests are also colleagues at Witness. I have Marianna Moneymaker, who is the online outreach person at Witness, and Josephine De Fijter, who's an intern at Witness. So I'm going to open it up by asking you both about your own personal internship experiences, what you did in the past and what you got out of those experiences. Mari, would you mind speaking to that first?
Sure. I would like to say there's also 2 other interns helping out with this show. There's Kelly, who's engineering right now. And the guy moving the camera is Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan. Right there.
For me, I actually didn't have an internship until I was 30. And when I first moved to New York, it was my way to get into the film industry and nonprofit, working with nonprofit film and documentary. And I interned with DCTV. And it was a really good internship. They foster very much like Witness, and maybe this is true for all nonprofits, I don't know, but they fostered a very much learning experience. But they were also willing to acknowledge that I had a lot of experience in things that they can use, and they allowed me to use that so that eventually I became a consultant with them.
Huh, that's great. So it turned into something else.
Yeah,
it sounds
did turn into something else. So, but you get, I think in an internship personally, that you get out of it what you put into it. You know. So.
Yep. Josephine.
I did one previous internship, and it was at a company, also a non-profit, and they organize quite big event. So it's a little bit different than Witness. And I really enjoyed it because especially they gave me a lot of responsibility. I was their first and only intern, and I really felt one of the team members, and I think that's very important an internship is meant to learn a lot and to get challenged to broaden your horizon and try new things. So I think that's the reason why everybody should try to do an internship.
Yeah, the challenge and trying new things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mari, I know you've supervised many, many interns in the past, and particularly because we're being supervised by you, but also, you know, for our peers out there that are watching this. What do you look for when you're picking who to have as an intern, and then what do you find sort of defines a good internship experience for you on your end, and I guess also what you sort of imagine is good for us to be putting in?
You know, it starts always with the resume and cover letter, right? For me, I do read the cover letter, and I actually like people who have a variety in their cover letters, and look like they are really trying to do different things. Since I do work with social media, you know, a lot of it is trying different things and being a people person and trying to foster relationships or communities. So you actually have to be a little bit diverse. Yeah. So that's what I look for, especially in a cover letter, and I like to see a little bit of personality in the cover letter. And then from there, when they come in to interview, there's I usually have certain tasks that I have in mind, and I look for that skill set hoping that they can work with those tasks. So, wanting to know specifically if they're willing to learn other things. I think I asked all of you at some point, you know, what during the interview process, you know, not only what I expected of you, but what did you expect of me?
Yeah.
And what did you want to learn from me? So that's my approach.
Yeah, kind of seeing what sort of go-getter attitude we
Yes.
have.
Yeah.
Great. And then when you have the interns that you've picked, what do you feel like, it's kind of related to the way you already answered the question, the previous question, but what do you feel sort of defines then a good internship experience for you as you're supervising interns? Is it kind of just the same?
Oh, for me?
Yeah.
I think it's the same on both ends, right?
Yeah.
Communication, teamwork. Both the last set of interns that I had before and you guys, been totally fortunate. The teamwork has been amazing. You know, and we're all open to communication, and you know, so that makes a huge difference. And willing to try things, and also having the understanding that, you know, sometimes you have to do the grunt work to be able to do the fun stuff. So.
Yeah, and that's kind of life. Well, I think you've done a really good job facilitating a good team too. No, I've done many internships in the past. Not till I was 29, though, and this has definitely been much more of a team setting than I've experienced in the past. Going off of that, you kind of tapped into this a little bit already, but Josephine, I'd love to hear about how you think just the overall internship differs within the U.S. versus in Europe, since you've interned in both not countries. Do you have any feelings on how they're different?
They're different on the part that the previous internship I was the only intern, and now we're with the four of us. Mm-hmm. So I think that's very nice because we all have different skills and interests, and we really learn from each other. And that's what I really appreciate at interning here at Witness, is that we all have our own project. But if we want to learn more, we can ask each other for help and share that information.
Yeah. Well, also, I was kind of asking, too, within the European context, with other friends that you've had that have interned there, do you feel like there's something particularly different within the Europe internship context versus within the United States internship experience, or...
I don't really know. Most internships in Europe are paid, so maybe that's we already discussed it. And that's maybe it's
that's a big difference.
That's a big difference, yeah. And I think it differs between companies because some companies in Holland as well are very international focused, and others are less. So that differs as well.
Yeah, it's interesting mentioning the paid versus unpaid point, because there's a lot of talk right now in the news about if the unpaid internships that are often required for so many jobs now make it so that only a certain socioeconomic class can then enter these fields because they're the ones that have the time and the bandwidth to do an unpaid internship. So interesting to hear about that.
Do we want to hear from you guys? Do you want to talk, Jordan? We can switch out here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, shock.
So, Jordan, why don't you tell us a little bit about your internship experiences, when they began and what they've been like for you?
Well, actually, this is my first actual internship. Most of my other experience has been either running a program that I created or worked for an organization. So this is kind of the first experience I've had with combining working but also the learning aspect, as well as trying to learn different tasks and get different skills while you're also contributing to an organization. So it's definitely a different experience rather than just kind of working autonomously on your own to create a project.
Yeah. So you've had work positions too. What would you say is different about an internship versus a work experience? And
I think one of the things that I've heard from some of my schoolmates is that an internship should be a learning experience, and a lot of time it ends up being an unpaid job where you're working for an organization and just filling a role for them, but not necessarily gaining any new skills or moving towards gaining skills to then be employed. And I think that's one of the issues with an increase in internships, is the idea that organizations are now able to fill positions by having unpaid interns rather than bringing people in and having them be entry-level positions.
so going off of that then, I'd be curious if you think there is a space for unpaid internships, and if so, what should people really look for? If they have the time to do an unpaid internship, what should we make sure that we get out of it? So
I think it's important to know that, I mean, an unpaid internship can be beneficial. I mean, speaking personally, like, what I look for is an organization that I think I can learn from, one that I would want to work for in the future to actually gain some experience in that field or within that specific organization, and feel like I'm also growing in that process. So I'm not just working someplace and doing either menial work or not really gaining anything extra. I think that's where you kind of you see it not really work as well. But really looking for an organization that, one, you're passionate about what they're doing, two, you feel like you can gain something out of, and that you're seen as an equal in that setting.
Right. Yeah, and you can kind of tap into the thinking of people that are maybe in higher level positions and learn about that. Great. I think that's really good advice. With some of your previous internships, Josephine, have you had an opportunity to engage in some really interesting tasks? You sort of mentioned that, but I'd love to hear some specific things you got to work on, as well as maybe some more menial tasks that didn't really allow you to tap into your higher thinking.
Yeah, of course I did also the menial tasks. I think that's normal with every internship because it's necessary. Somebody needs to do it.
What were some of them?
Yeah, I needed to work a lot with Excel, and because it's an event where they choose speakers, and there was a database with a lot of people, and I needed to find their email address and LinkedIn account, so it was more a research thing, but
okay, yeah,
I didn't really need to think
not so much thinking.
No, yeah. But furthermore, I already mentioned that I got a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
And they let me create the program booklet all myself. So they just gave me a time period, and I could design it and work with other partners and discuss how it should look like and what the content must be like, you know.
Wow,
so
and then you can come away saying, I did this, and have a project to show that you've done. That's
it was really
amazing.
Rewarding that you could see something tangible,
Yeah.
That's definitely something I think about. I probably sound like voice of God right now.
Here, let me film.
Voice of God.
The voice of God is here.
No, but that's how I also think about the projects. Or
you want to sit?
We can switch. That's okay. But when I think about the projects, like to work with you guys, I want to give you something that you can put on your resume for later on, and I think that is something that I hope, I'm sure other organizations probably think about that at some point, but that's my approach, is I really try to think of projects that you could either take and use in your thesis, or you can put on your resume and feel proud of it in some way.
Yeah.
I think,
witness live.
I think like the idea of like having ownership is key too, that you're not going someplace and working on something where either you're not going to be acknowledged for it, or that you don't feel like you're accomplishing something at the end. And I think that's something that's really big too.
What do you think, Kelly?
I'm
You're
gonna
sitting
come
over there.
and interview you. Kelly is such an awesome intern.
Hi.
Should we move the boom mic or no?
No.
No?
Okay.
We're okay. Are you
All right,
okay?
Kelly.
I'm good. Hold on. Let me
So,
put up my graphic.
I'm going to be the voice of God right now again.
Yeah.
And I just would love to hear you speak to your internship experiences, when they began, and what were some of your favorites, and why were they your favorites?
I had about 7 or 8 internship experiences.
Holy mackerel! Ding, 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 ding.
Wait, we should
think I
we
did
should
that.
switch and bring you over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, come over here. This is so
Where do you
fun.
want me?
On the sofa is fine.
Go on.
And I'll switch with you, Liz.
Okay.
We're doing a little switch here. I hope you guys don't mind.
Dizzy.
Hi.
Hello. So this is my colleague Kelly Vanover. Is that how I say it? Vanover. Okay, good. And yeah, we've had a bunch of classes together, and now we are interning together.
I
It's
know.
pretty exciting.
Can't get away from you.
Yeah, you just.
No, Liz is actually the reason why I'm here. So thanks, Liz.
I mean, I have a lot of people that tell me that. Just kidding. I don't have any kids. So, all right.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, let's start
Talking
all
about
over.
internships.
So yeah, I kind of have asked everyone, and I'd love to hear, because we all have such individual experiences. Just you said you have had 7 internships
Yep,
in the
7
past.
or 8. I actually have to take a bunch off of my resume because it's becoming longer than 2 pages. So
Wow.
I have a separate page for my internships that no longer are applicable.
So you are the most seasoned intern, I think, in the room right now. That's pretty
Maybe.
amazing.
possible.
So that's so interesting that you've had that many experiences. I'd love to hear then about the differences in those experiences, and
Excuse me.
you know, which ones proved to be more fulfilling and why.
Well, definitely starting out in undergrad, I was just happy to get anything in international affairs at all. I was living in Ohio at the time, and there wasn't really a whole lot of international-based things, so I was willing to pretty much take anything that had international in the title. So I ended up doing a lot of grunt work, a lot of menial tasks that, again, like they're not even applicable to what I'm doing in my job searching right now. So that was, you know, undergrad, and then as I got into my master's, I really had a focus on what exactly it was I wanted to do with my life, what I wanted to get out of an internship, and I kind of, you know, I had a big head in a way. I'm like, yeah, I've done a lot of these things. Like, I can be picky. So I think the older you get, the more focused you get, and the more you choose an internship based on what it is you would like to get out of it and the type of organization, as opposed to just any offer that might come along.
So I'm curious, just so that we can make it more tangible for our audience, what are the things that you want to get out of internships then now, or maybe you don't plan on doing any in the future, but what were they most recently?
I think it sounds like I'm, you know, yay, witness, but really, seriously, working for Witness it's been probably one of the first internships I've had where I've actually, like Jordan said, been able to take ownership of the internship, been able to really explore things that I didn't even know that I could do or didn't think I could do as well, and I've really been able to push things far, like graphic design, nature, obviously video. I'd never done technical director before, so as you guys can probably tell.
We would have never known.
But yeah, just really being able to try out different bits without having to commit to anything in a job sort of setting. And I think when you're in an internship that's maybe more I don't know how to say it, but more administrative, you kind of end up doing tasks repetitively that you already know, like, how you can do. And so what I've really enjoyed about being involved here is just always something is new every day.
Exploring.
Yeah, exactly.
So can you speak to, we've already mentioned it in our show, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. There is conversation out there right now that the amount of unpaid internships that exist really are creating a divide between people that are able to take on those positions and people that aren't. And if all careers in certain fields require you to do unpaid internships, it'll make it so only certain people can enter that field. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's the case? Is that a little overblown? Or?
No, I completely agree with it. I came from, as a middle-class background where I was fortunate enough to have my parents and grandparents helping me through undergrad. I still worked, but I didn't have to work to support myself, so I was able to take on those internships for undergrad. Then coming here, the situation has changed a bit with the economy downturning, but basically it's another gamble that I'm taking on a lot of personal debt in order to get through school, to be able to be in my field interning, unpaid internships, instead of working to be able to support myself. So it seems like that it is definitely, the system favors if you are able to be financially supported by someone other than yourself.
Yeah.
So I would completely agree with that statement.
Interesting. Yeah. It's tough because so many of the jobs we're interested in don't have a ton of money. We're not going into investment banking. So let's see here. I think that we actually are running out of time. Thank you so much for tuning in to Witness Live. We have a big show coming up on April 19th about climate change and how youth activists are taking on this issue. So please tune into that. It will be at 6 o'clock on Friday, April 19th again. And thanks again.